Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast once again. Now, today is the Big Ten West. Of course, I am accompanied by Mr. Srabensky. So let's not waste any time. Let's get this going. Big Ten West. We already did the East, so let's get this party started. Jacob,
Let's get
take
the
it away.
West. Let us defending Big Ten West, the team that got chip, unfortunately, as most teams from the West do, because the West is just undoubtedly worse. We have starting with South Dakota State at home against Iowa State and Nevada. That rounds out their non-con. Then they go on the road to Rutgers. They take on Michigan at home. Then they go on the road to Illinois and Ohio State. At home against Northwestern. On the road against Purdue. At home versus Wisconsin. On the road against Minnesota. And at home against Nebraska. Pretty tough schedule as far as Big Ten is concerned. So, as far as I see this, the first probably Minnesota. I would give those. I would probably give Michigan as a loss. But here's the thing, Minnesota was incredibly low. They're over under 7.7 and a half. So it's a pretty low over under. But Purdue and Ohio State are three good, Michigan, which means they have to beat Wisconsin at home, Nebraska, which means they have to beat Wisconsin. Also would have to beat Nebraska. They just can't trip up anywhere else. Like they can't trip up at Illinois, and they can't trip up at Rutgers, even though they don't play well on the road. So it looks like it's low, but I could very easily see a 75 for this team just because of how are. They have some of the best teams in the conference on the road. I initially was sitting here like I'm probably gonna go over. I don't know now though. Because I feel like they'll trip up some of these teams at home. Very easy 6, 7, and 5 for this team just because their road schedule is just.
Yeah, the over under 7.5. That is honestly really low for this Iowa team. But when you do look at their schedule, it is pretty rough because you have both Michigan and Ohio State, of which I would say likely both of those are losses. Certainly Ohio State. Michigan, they have a better chance of beating, especially since it's in Iowa City. Um, and then I think the 50-50 games are going to come down to especially Iowa State. We know how big of a game that is for both teams, the Cyclones and the Hawkeyes.
So
It always ends up being a close game. It is in Iowa City, which is why I do give Iowa more of the edge there, but that always is a 50-50 game to me. And then you got Purdue, Wisconsin, Minnesota, all of which I'd say are 50-50s. Iowa could easily win or lose any of those. So I split down the middle. I give them half. I give them two of the games. They lose the other two. They're still at 8-4. I go over. This Iowa team, they always seem to have some sort of players. Their quarterback room is interesting because they have Spencer Petras and then the Alex Padilla dude who both played against Michigan looked terrible, but their offense has never been any special. It wasn't any good last year, but their defense was really good. So I think Iowa definitely could have is going to have like an 8-4 kind of season, maybe 7-5. But I give them 8-4, so I'll go a little over for them.
just give me the tight end. Just let me draft whatever team out of you are a tight end at Iowa. You're going to the NFL. Basically, is what I've seen. That's their bet. That's all they do. Go to the earlier loss. They beat West Virginia in the Camping World Bowl, right?
Yeah.
They beat them in the Camping World Bowl last year. They had a pretty decent season, but this year their non-conference is pretty. And when I say pretty, I mean very easy. With
Western
And
Illinois.
click into that to make sure that was Western Illinois and Colorado, which all be easy wins. The next conference play on the road against Michigan State at at Illinois and at Penn State. They've got Rutgers at home, at Nebraska, West, and so their win total is super low. Like I think I'm going over on this one. Their win total is 6.5.
Wow.
So I think Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Penn State and Michigan State are probably losses. I would give them the loss at Illinois too to get them to 5. But even I would say out of Illinois, Iowa at home, and Purdue at home, they probably lose one of those games to drop to 7-5. But I'm going over. I have them go 7-5. I don't think they're going to bottom out. I don't think they're going to go 6-6. They could. They have a ton. They have like a 50-50 road schedule, but I think they can win some of those road games as well as win most of their home. So I have them at 7-5. I have them going over that. I think that's 16 well.
Yeah, I think for Minnesota, this is really the entire Big Ten West is like very good at home and then mightily struggles on the road. Wisconsin is like the lone exception, but then there's like Iowa, who is very Iowa City dependent. They do not play well away from Iowa City. Minnesota is another team that really does not play well outside of Minneapolis. And Purdue's another team that really does not play well outside of West Lafayette or directionally challenged Lafayette. um, but for Minnesota, I think they easily win the first three. Colorado's the most difficult one out of those, but even Colorado's not that special. Uh, I'm not big on Colorado this year. Purdue at home is an interesting one. I think that's 50-50. They won't beat Michigan State, Penn State, or Wisconsin. They lose those. And then Iowa is also another 50-50. Nebraska, I think they most likely should beat, but it is a road game, so that is definitely in the air. I think they'll beat Illinois, so I'll still go over for them. I don't think they go any. I don't think they go to 6-6. They'll at least win 5 games, or I'm sorry, 7 games. They'll at least lose 5 games, but I think Minnesota definitely goes at above 500. I don't think they hit the 500 mark. They'll be above that.
Fair enough. And we've got what looks to be, at least out of win, favorite to win the Big Ten West. We've got the Wisconsin Badgers. We have their non-conference is pretty simple: Illinois State, Washington State, and New Mexico State. Washington State's pretty good, but they
New
have
Mexico State again.
I know they only play in the Big Ten for New Mexico State, and then they start conference play in Columbus. So
Ooh.
we're gonna start from conference play. Then they got Illinois at home, at Northwestern, and at Michigan State. You've got Purdue and Maryland at home, at Minnesota. Their win total is at 8.5, and I think I'm going to go over because I can only see 2 for sure losses on a probable third loss. It's either going to be 8-4 or 9-5 or 9-3 because I can see them losing both Iowa and Nebraska. I see Michigan State on the road, and then it's take your pick between Iowa and Nebraska whether they'll win both those games, lose both of them, or win or split it. I think they split. I think they split it between winning Iowa and losing against Iowa, beating Nebraska, and they end up going 9-3. So I'm going to have just over that win total 8.5. These win totals that this website, this Vegas Insider, has really good win totals because every single time we've done this, we have been like right at the debating between it. But I'm going to go just over at 9-3, but again, you can very easily see 8-4 for this team, but I think they're the clear favorites to win the West.
Yeah, Wisconsin, their team is really dependent on their quarterback being way better, being Graham Mertz, and they do have a really good running back in not the Clemson transfer, but it's the Brandon Allen. That guy, or I'm sorry, Braylon Allen. That guy is a tank. This is a running back who is 6'2", 238 pounds, and he's a freshman. Last year he was a freshman. This year he's going to be a sophomore. This guy is very good. So that's going to be the entire. That's going to be all of Wisconsin's offense, and their defense was one of the top defenses in the country last year. And they lost, I think, one linebacker, but other than that, I don't think they really lost that much on the defensive end. So they'll probably be about the same. I think they win the first three. Washington State is also going through a coaching change right now. I already plugged it the last time, but if you haven't seen the coaching carousel video for NCAA football, go check it out. But Washington State's new head coach, well, I guess technically he isn't really a new head coach because it was their interim from last year. So he's taking over for Washington State. Their team's not even that good anyway. Plus, it's in Camp Randall. That's an easy win. New Mexico State ain't beating them. They're not beating Ohio State. They'll win the next two. Michigan State is, in East Lansing will be difficult, but I think Wisconsin can win that. Purdue in Wisconsin, that's who knows. Maryland's not beating Wisconsin, that's a win. Iowa's gonna be difficult. Nebraska, they'll probably beat because Nebraska's not that good, even if it is in Lincoln. And then Minnesota will be an interesting one. So what was it? 8.5?
8.5. So you'd have to go 9-3 to be over. I think from what you were saying, it seemed like you were going to go over.
I'm gonna give them 9-3 because I think they'll lose to Ohio State and then take your pick between like Michigan State, Purdue, Iowa, and Minnesota. So yeah, I'll give them 9-3. They'll go over.
Fair enough. All right, and now we go to the team that always causes the most drama in the Big Ten. New Boilermakers. They start with conference play. They start against Penn State, and then they play Indiana State, and then they go on the road to Syracuse, and they play FAU. Those are their three non-con games, and then they start Maryland. Then they play Nebraska at home. Then they go on the road to Wisconsin. They welcome Iowa, on the road to Illinois, Northwestern, and then at Indiana.
Did we do Penn State in the last one?
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Wait. No.
I don't think we did Penn State. We'll have to do that later, I guess.
Oh my gosh! I just skipped them. Whoops. I think they're one of the teams that I would speak about anyway. Is at 7.5. So let's at this down. I think a lot of these road games are probably going to be losses for Purdue. I think I would favor Minnesota and Maryland in those road games. Wisconsin. That's 3 losses right there. I think Illinois and Iowa is a toss-up. I think one of those two will be wins. And be a loss. And Indiana is a win. Northwestern at home is a win. Penn State at home is probably, honestly, I think I can see them winning that game.
That's gonna be a good opener on a Thursday night.
I can see. I don't know. I don't know about Syracuse. I mean, I think Syracuse can cause trouble because it's on the road, but I think I'd probably take the Big Ten team in that one.
And what is the arena called now? I know it's not the Carrier Dome for some reason.
I forget what it's called now, but I mean, Rex Culpepper's pretty fun, but I still don't think that team's gonna be that great. So I would probably take them in that one. So I would probably say 1, 2, 3, 4. So probably about 8, 4, 7, and 5. I'm probably gonna go under because I think 7 and 5 is more realistic. I see 4 losses on here, but I think like Purdue's gonna slip up in one of these other games. So realistically, I think I'm gonna go under and take 7 and 5, which is the same thing.
Yeah, for me, I mean, there is definitely some games where I could see Purdue having issues. Um, the Penn State game right off the bat will be interesting because it is a road game right off the bat, and we saw the last time Penn State had a opening game on the road, which was against Indiana. That didn't go so well, although there was some scrutiny in that one. But but this game, Purdue is a team that loves to beat ranked teams at home, and loves to beat ranked teams. Period. But Purdue does really well against better competition. They especially at home they tend to have a good time in West Lafayette. So I'm going over for Purdue. I think they at least get 8 wins. Their big games are going to come down to obviously the big opener, and then it's going to be Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. The rest, I mostly see them winning. They could. They very well could end up tripping up against Syracuse, but I don't think they will. And then their other game of which I could see them maybe having the problem is Maryland. But other than that, they win everything else. So I go. I think they'll go at least 8 wins. I think so. I'll go over for them.
We could go to the Illinois Fighting Illini, who I am a lot less high on now. Now that I know the quarterback room consists of Art Sikowski and Tommy DeVito, I feel way worse about the Fighting Illini now. You've got their non-conference is starting off with Wyoming, and then you go on the road to Indiana, and then you've got Virginia and Chattanooga at home. Chattanooga, watch out! Chattanooga's coming to town. They better watch it. Then you got Wisconsin on the road, Iowa, Minnesota, at Nebraska, Michigan State, Purdue, and then at Michigan and at Northwestern. Their win total is I think are really the only give me wins. Indiana would be tough. I would favor Indiana just because it's a road game. Virginia still has Brandon Armstrong, so Virginia's going to be putting up a crap ton of points. They're not going to have a 9 a.m. game this time.
Yeah, they will still have Armstrong. He's still with the
yeah,
he's still with
so
the Cavaliers.
At a loss. Iowa and Minnesota at home, but I would still chalk those up losses. At Nebraska and Michigan State, maybe they trip one of them up. Loss. Even at Northwestern's not that good, but it's a road game. So honestly, I think they're probably around that 4-8 mark. So I'd go under. I'd give them a 4-win mark because I think the only gimme wins are Chattanooga and Wyoming. And heck, Chattanooga might not even be a gimme win if Tommy DeVito is your quarterback. So I give them 4-8. I think they can go 5-7. Teams that just like beat ranked teams. I feel like that's all the West does. They all stink, but every now and again they beat a good team to make them feel better about themselves. And I think 4-8.
Yeah, like I said, the entire West really has issues playing on the road, but I don't think that really helps out the Illini here. They'll meet. I think they'll end up beating Wyoming, and will actually be week 0 because they play in that like first week where hardly anyone plays. I think they knock off Indiana. No way they beat Virginia. That team's too good for them, even if it is at Illinois. They should beat Chattanooga, and then their only other win I give them is Northwestern. The rest I see the Illini having problems with. No, Nebraska might be their best chance, but that's still a road game. And Illinois is not that good. Nebraska's looking to make some noise, and it being in Lincoln, we know how ridiculously, uh, we know how crazy Lincoln can be. So yeah, I'm going 4-8.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going under.
Now on to that always overhyped team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Who their win total? Take a guess. What's their win total? What do you think their over under win total? What would you?
Knowing how high people are in Nebraska, I'm going 4.5.
The Vegas odds insider has them at 7.5. 7.5.
Okay, well, I don't think we have to question what their win total is going to be.
Nebraska at 7.5. You start with Northwestern in week 0, which should be a win. And then your non-conference, North Dakota and Georgia Southern should be wins. They should start 3-0. Then they got Oklahoma, which even with all the Oklahoma departures, Oklahoma's still a better football team. I still think Nebraska can trip up because they last year at Oklahoma. So you never know being in Lincoln and that being a big rivalry, maybe. So optimistic, we're 4-0 right now. Indiana probably win. Optimistically, we're 5-0. At Rutgers and at Purdue, I take as losses. Illinois at home, optimistically, boom, we're at 6 wins. Boom, that's 7 wins. At Michigan, Wisconsin, at Iowa, lost. Even with the most optimistic outlook on this, You're still 7 wins. That's still under. I still see them probably losing to Minnesota and Oklahoma. 7.5 is way too high for this Nebraska team. It's proved. Casey Thompson coming in is awesome. That doesn't move the needle to 7.5 wins, though. I'm definitely taking the under on this. I could see optimistically 7-5, but that's like the ceiling.
Yeah, I'm certainly going under for Nebraska. They're not getting 8 wins. No way. Because even for Nebraska, I mean Northwestern. That game is in Ireland. That's in Dublin, Ireland. So that's anybody's game. North Dakota, they should beat North Dakota. Georgia Southern's coached by Clay Helton now, the former USC head coach. That won't be an easy game either. They're not beating Oklahoma. I know they have a new head coach too. There's a ridiculous amount of movement. Oklahoma has a new head coach. They now have Brent Venables. Their team is still better than Nebraska. They still have a good quarterback in got the guy from youth Dylan Gabriel. That's now going to be Oklahoma's quarterback, or maybe the guy they got in recruiting. I think it'll probably be Gabriel though.
It'll probably be Dylan Gabriel.
Indiana, they'll beat Indiana. I think I'll give them the win against the Hoosiers. Rutgers, not on the road. Purdue, no. Illinois, I could give them the. I can give them the Fighting Illini. Minnesota, likely not, and then they're not running the rest of the games. So, what is that? 4 wins, maybe.
As optimistic as you can be, you're getting the best 7-5. So
I'm going way under for this team. I think it'd be a pretty good miracle if they even were bowl eligible.
you're like, what do they have it at 4.5? I'm like, they have it at 7.5. That's why I was sitting there with my jaw open. I'm like, what the heck? That's insane. All right, and now we round out. Is there any that are like? I just need to see real quick. Is there any that's under 3 wins in this list? Okay. Arizona is at 2.5. Duke is at 3.5. Kansas is at 2.5, and Vanderbilt's at 2.5.
Kansas should be at 1.5.
I don't know. They'll be Texas. They got Texas. And now we go to the end of the Big Ten. We have Northwestern sitting at 4.5. You have, I guess, not on the road. You have in Ireland against Nebraska. And then you've got Duke, SIU, and Miami of Ohio, all at home. Then you bring Wisconsin home at Maryland and at Iowa. You got versus Ohio State. And then you got Minnesota, Purdue on the road, and Illinois at home. So reasonably, I think Illinois at home they should win. Duke, SIU, and Miami of Ohio they should win. I don't see anything else, so I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go either 3-9 or 4-8. I think 4-8 is reasonable. They could go 5-7 and like say beat Nebraska. I see Nebraska beat Illinois and then go 3-0 in the non-con, but they're probably lose to Nebraska because Nebraska's a better team, even if it isn't 4-8. 3-0 in the non-con, and then probably beat Illinois or Nebraska.
So over unders 4.5.
So 4-8 or 5-7.
Yeah, so for Northwestern, I probably will go with 4-8. So I'll go under for them. Because I would have them beating Duke, Southern Illinois, and Miami, Ohio. They'll beat all those teams. And yeah, I have the same opinion as you. Either they'll beat Nebraska and Ireland, which will be a really fun game to see, and then they might end up beating Illinois. But that's about it.
Okay, we did everybody. We did everybody in the West. We did not miss anybody. We did Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Nebraska, and Northwestern. Then we did Penn State because we forgot to do them in the last video. Other than that, that is it. That is the Big Ten West over under win totals. Us betting against odds. So that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. A bunch of links everywhere. Keep plugging the coaching video again, so go check that out. Go check out some of our other videos. I think game 5 of the finals is on tonight, so that'll be fun.
Yes, it'll be on at I believe 9 o'clock.
6 o'clock here. I will say this is a side note. This is college football. We're just gonna talk about. I'm just gonna say it for a second. This series is so much fun. I don't know who's gonna win this series. This is like it's such a good series. Like I'm so happy with this series. I would probably still go. I'd probably pick. I don't know. I want to say Boston 6, but I don't know. At this point, I don't know. It's probably going 7. It's a fun series though.
When I first did the predictions, I had the Warriors in 6, so we'll see.
It's either I don't know.
It'll probably go 7 games.
It'll probably go 7, but I don't know. It's fun. Anyway, that's it. We will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Adios, everybody.